Also tonight, the conclusion to a closely watched trial in Washington, D.C. You might remember this moment during the president's crackdown in the nation's capital, a man launching a Subway sandwich at a federal agent before sprinting away, agents dashing after him. Former Justice Department paralegal Sean Dunn was charged with a single misdemeanor, and this case actually went to trial. And our senior justice reporter, Ryan Reilly, was in the courtroom as the verdict was read. So, Ryan, tell us, what happened today?
Essentially, the jury here rejected the charges against this individual. Formerly a grand jury decided not to charge him with a felony, but here he was charged with this misdemeanor offense, and the jury decided that he was not guilty of that. They had a couple of questions for the judge, but I think the underlying current of this is that D.C. residents have not been able to sort of register their dissent against many of the things that were imposed upon them by the Trump administration. So I think nullification was sort of the underlying current of this case, because as you see there on video, Tom, it's pretty clear what happened here. The question that was posed to jurors was whether this was a misdemeanor offense, and jurors came back with a not guilty verdict.
Yeah, so Ryan, can people anyone go up to now a law enforcement officer, ICE agents, and just throw peanut butter jelly? I mean, I don't know if that was a Subway club, what that sandwich was. Can they just throw them at these law enforcement officers and nothing's going to happen?
I think in D.C. it's a particular sort of scenario because, remember, people who live in D.C. don't have a vote in Congress. So basically the way that they are registering their dissent, sort of through the nullification process here, is saying that we disagree with the way that the Trump administration is moving forward here. We didn't get a chance really to speak with any of the jurors about their final decision, but they did ask some detailed questions about what qualified as an assault here. But, this was an individual who the person who was assaulted here did make some jokes about it afterward. He had a plush sandwich. He had a patch that said, felony foot long. So this wasn't necessarily a serious event in his life. And I think that's what the defense here was really underlining. This was not sort of a serious event in his life that would necessarily lead to federal charges.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, obviously, this individual has lost their lives. So I think the broader political context was certainly something that was looming over this case in general, with D.C. residents not being able to register.
It could start the cold cut protest movement, which could be a new thing in D.C. A couple other things. The jurors were actually eating sandwiches while they're deliberating.
They were. That's an NBC exclusive. I found out from a source familiar with juror lunches that they were served sandwiches during deliberations here. They spent about probably 6 hours overall deliberating this. They started yesterday and then they continued into today. But yeah, that's what they were served up, was sandwiches from the cafeteria of the D.C. federal court.
Yeah, I mean, if I was the U.S. attorney, I made appeal. That sounds like bias right there from the get-go. But Ryan, great details. We thank you for joining Top Story tonight. We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.